Hello, 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 my friends. This is Joe Daddy's Garage from Middle Siberia. I couldn't resist. It is Monday, January 6, 2025, and let me tell you, it's cold. Okay. Let me take off the extra warm hat. Oh, man. It is cold. The temperature's been dropping. It is currently around 30 degrees here in Georgia, and it says on my app that it feels like 17. And let me tell you, it feels like 17 degrees, and I don't like it. I never like it. I hate the cold with a passion. So, with that out of the way, I also will point out that this coming week, our lowest temperature will be 21 degrees. But we're also going to have 26, 24, 27. That's pretty cold in Georgia. And I know that big storm is coming through and it's hitting all of us. So we just have to knuckle down and bear it, bear with it. So anyway, I hope you all are having a good new year. I'll say a happy new year. And, there's always stuff going on. There's always new things happening. And as you probably saw in the video, I had to adjust my camera there. As you probably saw in the last video, I've started on disassembly of the fangled 68 Mustang. And that is going as expected. I know that there was, obviously I went over the car being, damaged, not really being worth fixing as far as that goes. And I've been popping welds and getting stuff loose. So today I've been working on the front area here, separating the kick panel and the A-pillar. Also remove the filler pieces on top of the aprons. And what really surprised me, but not surprised me, I guess, was the when I broke some welds on the passenger side, that bracket, it actually popped. Like it was under stress load. So that tells me right there that there was a lot more wrong with this car from the impact that it took. So it had been rear-ended, and I was pretty confident it had been hit in the front. Excuse me. But whenever I separated that stuff, you could hear everything just kind of pop, like it was trying to pull apart or push together, whatever. So I'm glad that I'm using this car as a donor for the Fastback project. And ultimately, I will be pulling out those rocker panels, and then the rest of it is just going to be, put to the side for now. I do have intentions of taking this roof structure and using it on the 67 coupe that I've had for a while, and I discussed that in my Patreon video. It has just a whole bunch of weird stuff that's been done to it, and rust. And I want to try to keep it together as a coupe. And I know there's a lot of people that are doing the fastback conversions, and that's all well and good. I'm going to be basically using this car as a fastback. It'll be labeled as a coupe, but it will become a fastback. But I also am kind of on the fence about how many of these cars are being processed that way. Now, this car, it was not worth fixing. So this would have been likely just scrapped overall to begin with. But that 67, I have a good, it's got good VIN numbers and a good title for it. So to me, that gives it, a little more value down the road. So I'm going to be working on that at some point as well. And I also want to point something else out. I know that I have a lot of people ask me about the basket case Camaro. And at one point, I had what I thought, I still have the emails from AMD telling me that they were going to send me quarter panels and a floor pan and a tail panel and a firewall. I mean, they basically said they would send that stuff. And so that never happened. I don't know whatever became of that. I never really pushed it any, too hard because obviously it's nice to get stuff for free, but I'm not going to beat them up for not, I'm not going to be like sending them emails and calling them and saying, hey, you told me you were going to do this. So I have a friend who is basically a dealer for AMD, and I contacted him yesterday, and I said, hey, what would it, what kind of pricing could I get? And it helps to have a dealer like him. He doesn't get the pricing as good as I expected to be. I thought there'd be a better change in that pricing, but I kind of pursued that a little bit, and then I thought, I need to contact AMD again. So I sent them another email, and I haven't heard anything back yet, and I don't know if I will hear anything back, but the potential, I guess, is still there to get those parts one way or another from AMD. I even suggested to them, rather than giving me parts, let me know if I can get them at a better price, and I may pursue that as well. So I haven't given up on the basket case, so don't think that's out of the picture. But I need to get moving on something. I can't do body work. I can do body work, but I can't do primer and paint and all that stuff on the Cobra Jet with the temperatures dropping and getting just more difficult. But I can get out the plasma cutter and the grinder and start dissecting this car over here, and that's what I've been doing. So I know that everybody likes to see these videos, and the last video I did got good reviews or good views on it. And so the next one I'll be working on is getting the actual roof completely off of this thing, and who knows, and the rocker panels, and then of course trying to get it out of here. Now, I feel like I'm going to be able to get the floor pan started with the fastback. I'll be able to get it in here and start stacking up stuff on it and try to get it moving forward, as things go. So ultimately, whenever the weather starts getting better, I can get back on the Cobra Jet and finish painting it so it can go on down the road, and then I can, continue working on the 68. But I just don't like to be idle. I don't like to be waiting. And that was one of the big reasons why whenever I was doing the Brooklyn Pony, and I was getting super frustrated with the owner because he just continued to drop the ball, and I was like, I have a process here. I have a path I'm trying to follow, and so that's why I got really frustrated with him, because I need to keep doing something. I just can't I can't stop myself. I've got to do something. So anyway, welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, I do this on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. Doing this for probably 2 years at least, and we try to talk about classic cars. Now, my bracket is, for classic, I say, is 55 to about 79, 80, 81, somewhere in that range. I grew up with those cars in particular and have a lot of knowledge on them. If you have a subject matter you want to bring up, I appreciate it. You can ask. And if you have a question or something, and if we can help you with that, if I can help you with that, I will. If I can't, there's always a group of people in the chat box over there, and they are well informed as well. So we've helped a lot of people solve problems with their projects, and hopefully keep people motivated and get stuff done. So that's enough for that. Let's go into see who's here tonight. And first in is Travis Holtman, my #1 patron. Thank you, Travis. Glad you're here, and I hope all is well. Rick Stevenson, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, Rick. And Rick's here early, so that means I can get my first sip of coffee in. Rick is my cue for the coffee. So there we go. Thank you, Rick. Second Rick Gain. Hope all are doing well. Another cold night in New Jersey. Glad you're here as well, Rick. Dave Tyson checking in. Good evening, all. Evening, Dave. Once again, our first Dave sighting. We usually have 3 or 4 that show up for this. Terry Keithley. That's the wind blowing on that door right there. Good cold evening, all. Please hit the like and thumbs up for Barry, Terry, and Betty and the cats. Thank you, Terry. And Terry offered to bring me some snow down and deliver it. So I said, sure, bring some snow and some gobs, and then we can play in the snow. Richard Vogel, good evening, Barry. Hope you are doing well. Thank you, Richard. I feel like I'm doing better than I was last week. I know that it's that time of year when you get together and people get sick and you just go home and suffer through it. So Steve's Money Pit. I'm still behind in listening to live chats, but here now. Hello from the frozen Mopar land. I think he's up in like Wisconsin or something. Yeah, I'm sure it's cold up there. Betty Keithley is actually checking in. Good evening, Joe Daddy. Good evening, Betty. Glad you're here. The bowler hat guy. This is also David. Good evening, Barry. Hello, all. It's a good night to be by the fireplace. Almost a foot of snow outside. Yes. Welcome, David. I know I have relatives that live up in Kentucky and Pennsylvania, and talking about the cold weather and the snow and all that stuff that's coming through. And hopefully we can all get through this rather quickly. I don't like being cold at all. And my knees don't like it. They don't like being cold, I can tell you that. So the sooner it's over, the better. Robert, Infernal Craftsman, evening all. It's not 80 degrees here this week. Well, that's a plus for you, I know. And his better half, Jerry. Howdy, Barry. Howdy, all. It is much colder than I prefer to be in Texas, but I guess it makes Robert happy, so that's good, I guess. Okay. Glad you're here, Jerry. Steve Reed, hello, Barry, and everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. We've been getting a little snow and freezing rain here, and don't forget to give Barry a thumbs up. He really does great. Thank you, Steve, from Paducah, Kentucky. Nandu. I'm sorry, I skipped over. Troy, happy Monday from coastal Georgia. Who sent the cold weather down here? Take it back. Yes, I agree 100% on that. Now we go to Nandu. Good evening, Barry, and everyone. Hope you're doing good. Thank you, Nandu. I hope you are as well. You know, I wanted to, as I'm going through this, the weather conditions and all the stuff that's been going on, I know that I also commented about the stuff I've been trying to do outside with getting an RV cover and moving my barn, you know, over and stuff like that. And I don't know if I showed it here or not, but I had a bunch of parts that were leftover, like Chevy stuff. I had rally wheels. I had a set of 14x7 Camaro rally wheels. I've got some 15x8s. I've got had some truck rally wheels, miscellaneous stuff really. And I started, you know, going through all that, and I decided, well, I'm going to put it up for sale. So I've managed to part ways with one full set of wheels, two other wheels, a Chevy truck grill that I had, a water pump housing for a Mopar. Got passed that on, and I think there was something else. Oh yeah, the guy that bought the grill. I don't know if you remember or not. Back here in this corner, I talked about it. This guy drove all the way over here from Alabama, somewhere in Alabama, like 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. But he was looking for other Chevy parts. And in that corner, I had a cardboard tube standing up. And it was a set of stainless steel bed strips that I had for a Longhorn Chevy truck from '72. And they were 8'6". And I was like having trouble getting rid of those. And he asked if I had anything else. I said, I've got these bed strips here. We made a deal on them. And I was like, yes, somebody gets to use these things. And they're out of my way. So it was a big bonus to get some of this stuff out of the way. Now I'm like, what else can I get rid of? What else can I get rid of? But yeah, I was just thinking about that earlier because today is when I sold this one set of wheels earlier today. But as we were out there where we met, there was snow flurries. There was actually snow blowing around here in Georgia, and I don't like that at all. No, thank you. Black GTX Mark from Minnesota checking in. How's everyone doing? Hello, Mark. I'm sure it's cold where you're at. I know that's a fact up there. Rusty's Restoration, hello all, and Barry from cold and snowy southern Indiana. Excited about the new 68 project. Thumbs up, everyone. Thank you, Rusty. Yes, I'm excited about it too. And I've been tossing around the ideas of if I'm gonna save this cowl or not. I don't know yet. I'm gonna leave it on this car, leave it on this roof structure, and then go from there. Right now, I don't know that the 68 fastback deserves this one with some rust issues on it. I don't know that I want to go down that road. And I'm not against getting a new one. It's not a big deal. But we're going to see how that goes. But I want to get this all off of here first before I make that final decision as to what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, I'm excited about it too. Steve Reed, 25 here in Paducah, and wind chill is 16. Yeah, that's very similar to what it is here. I mean, it is cold outside, and no, I don't want it. None of it. David Moeller, hi everyone, happy 2025. It's a warm 25 degrees here in Northeast Ohio. See, that's the temperature we have, basically, right now. I mean, it's even dropped a little bit more. It's like 30. But still, that's cold. Don't need it. Welcome, David. Esteban Jones. It's me, Barry. Ed from Arizona. I'm the one that talked to you the other night about my perfectly straight 66 Mustang Coupe. It had a flawless body with no dents, but on faded original silver blue poly. Yes, I remember we discussed that. And those are some interesting... I know the car it was pretty impressive to have the original paint on it, and you were discussing about what to do to prep it, and I hope we covered that pretty well, and you came to a good conclusion on that. So welcome, Ed. Glad you're here. FE 428 Power 50 in Tallahassee, Florida. Well, that's better than what we have. So yeah, glad you're here. The Dutchman's Wood Shack. Afternoon, evening. Glad you're here. David Sweatman. Hello, Barry and all. Cold here, but the heavy snow missed us. Well, that's a positive. Glad you're here, David. That's like at least the third David sighting, or Dave. The Dutchman. Question, how many of you take out your battery in winter or disconnect it? I pretty much disconnect my battery, like any of my cars that I have in my storage, let's say, or I'm not driving, not my regular daily drivers, but like my Mustang, I disconnect the battery every time I park it. I don't leave anything hooked up. But I do have, like on the RV out there, I have a trickle charger on it constantly. I feel better about doing that. I found one on Amazon, and it does a great job just keeping the thing charged up. But I have not, it's not, I don't know if you're doing it because it's so cold, but I have not done that here in Georgia. Dave Conville, good evening. Happy New Year. Same to you, Dave. Glad you're here. Bob Shoemaker, evening all from Frosty, Oklahoma. Snow missed us, but temps started at 15 this morning and made it to 25. A bit cool. Welcome, Bob. Yes, that's plenty cold. The Dutchman, it's 15 degrees here in Geneva, Illinois. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Rick Ann, are you still considering renting your buddy's paint booth to do the cover jet during the winter month? I don't think so. I was thinking about that, and I'm a little apprehensive. And the reason for that is I don't want to shuffle everything around. Meaning, and I don't think it may be kind of risky in a way for me to load that car up on a trailer, take it to somebody else's place, get it into their building, get it into their paint booth, all the pieces and parts and all that sort of thing, and from there, load it all back up and bring it back over here. I don't know that it's worth the effort. I don't know. I've thought about it, and there's no rush for it. Right now, I know that Tammy's not in a big hurry for this car. She's told me that directly. She's like, whenever it's done, it's fine. So with that in mind, I'm not going to, I don't want to take any chances on having something happen to it. And I just feel better about it that way. Keep it in my possession and go with it from there. So, but yeah, I've thought about it, but I'm just not super interested in going that path right now. Steve says, poor Barry, we are at 22 going to 9. Warmest in a week. My son drove down to Fort Lauderdale the other day and stopped for a night south of Atlanta. Said it was 31 in the morning and I was on the beach. Yeah. Yeah. But you chose to live there where it's cold. Yeah. I mean, I don't want any of it. None of it. Richard, 27 degrees on Long Island, down to 19 degrees tonight. I hate winter more as I get older. Yeah, I've hated winter for probably 40 years now, and part of that stems from, and I'll just tell you this: whenever I was a kid and growing up at my dad's junkyard. So this is kind of a junkyard story. I know that. Let me put the banner up since we're talking about junkyard. So when you operate a junkyard, nothing is really indoor except for your house and your garage, right? And whenever it's a business 365 days a year, basically. There's something always to do at a junkyard. And there are always people that need something. And if you're well known and you have parts, they're going to want to come get them. And it could be just about anything. So I hated the winters. Now as a kid, I liked winter. Growing up in Pennsylvania, I loved going sled riding and riding the three-wheelers in the snow, snowmobiling. None of that was bad. But when it comes time to go up, stomping through a foot and a half of snow, carrying tools, carrying one of those great big jacks, that all the pretend off-roaders put on their Jeeps. They buy those big jacks. That's what we had to lift up the cars. And we would, you have to go up there and maybe pull something off the bottom of the car or something, brakes or whatever. I don't know, whatever it was. But I hated that because you couldn't get anything else up there. You couldn't we had a dune buggy we would drive in the summer, but that thing wouldn't go anywhere in the winter. So either you carried the stuff or you got the tractor out and hoped that you could get up there with the tractor and with everything in the bucket and pull these parts. And I know on several occasions, I won't say my brother abused me, but in a sense, it was abuse, I guess. He would go pull parts off of something and then leave all the tools laying in the snow and then make me go clean everything up. So I'd have to go digging through the snow trying to find these, hand tools to get them all back in the toolbox. And my fingers would be frozen, my hands would be frozen, I'd be wet and cold. I just hated it. I hated it. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with it anymore. And of course, the snow has changed. Let's say the weather has changed because we were getting hammered a lot in the 70s with a lot of snow up in Pennsylvania. I remember having 3 and 4 feet of snow and our back door snowed shut. And we would just have to stay in the house and not do anything. Now, the advantage there was nobody else was coming to the junkyard. They weren't coming to get parts because they couldn't make it to us. So we would just have to keep the coal fire going and stay warm and play cards. That's pretty much what we did whenever it was that severe. But yeah, I don't need any of it ever. Rick, did you hear any updates on a stray pony? In any way, I'm regretting not buying the car from you back then. I have not. I have not kept up with that guy, or I don't even remember who he was. No idea. I don't know anything. I think he had communicated with me that he had gotten it painted, but that's all I know. I really haven't kept up with it. So, Dwight Douglas, hello from snowy Indiana. Hello, Dwight. Glad you're here. Ed Cucciarella, hello from Southern California, 67 degrees. I would gladly take that, but I don't want to go to California to get it. Don't want to go there. I don't mind visiting California. Don't get me wrong. Nice place. But yeah, I don't want to go there. Harvey, Raleigh Cat Garage, hello Barry, listening and driving in snowy New Jersey. Oh boy. Well, don't do anything ridiculous. Snow's not fun to drive in. Well, it is. I'll say that. It is fun to drive in, but some people don't know what they're doing, and then it's not so good. Michael Pegliarini, evening all. I haven't been working in the garage because it's been in the single digits. Well, Michael, sorry to hear that. I will say this. I'm actually fairly comfortable in the garage right now. I don't know if you can see the thermometer over there. It's actually about 68, 69 degrees in here. Now the mini split runs constantly. It doesn't shut off. It's not going to shut off, and I know that. And the other thing that I've done is I have this a fan. It's one of those window type double fans that's up in the truss, and it's angled. It's not on at the moment, but what I found was the heat that gets pushed up into the rafters, I can direct down with that fan. Makes it a whole lot better in here. A whole lot better. And this helps a ton, putting these blankets up on this door. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be out here at all, because it'll get cold in here pretty quick. While that foam insulation does a great job of keeping it warm, it also does a good job of keeping it cool in here. So if the temperature does drop and it gets 45 or whatever, it stays that way until you kick some heat on, because that just doesn't even let the heat from the sun come through the roof or through the shingles or anything. But I'm glad you're here, Michael. Rick, remember, snow and cold are 4-letter words, just like work. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Delmarine, 8 to 12 inches in DC area, heavy stuff too. So it's good for making snowman, right? Yeah. You can have that. I don't don't want it. The Dutchman, I've been looking for a convertible. What year? Convertible. Give us a little more specifics on that. Rick, too cold to open a garage door, but I had to start at 65 just to hear it run. I missed the sound of it. Also, breathing a little carbon monoxide, never heard anybody. Yeah. It's. I'll tell you, I guess it doesn't hurt, but makes you awfully sleepy. The Dutchman, I want to restore another one like mine, but I don't know if Marketplace is the right place to start. Okay. Been looking in magazines. I have a 66 convertible red. Okay. Well, I haven't seen any for sale locally here in Georgia. But I'm always scouting Marketplace and looking, just because I need to torture myself. Just to torture myself. Steve says, I was born here. You know, my wife is from the Philippines, and she likes this weather. Well, I know you were born up there. Yeah. So you're used to it, in theory. You're used to it. I don't want it. I don't want it at all. Dave Tyson changed oil in wife's Tahoe in driveway 6 degrees with 20-mile-per-hour breeze. That's not fun. And I hate it whenever the wind catches the oil and tries to blow it off into the driveway somewhere, you know, out of your catch can. That's not fun. In fact, I'm going to be doing a wheel hub on a 2019 Kia Soul. A rear wheel hub. I'll be changing that off sometime this week as well, in the middle of this weather. So I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm debating on whether I'm going to do some more shuffling and see if I can get it in here to do the work, because I really don't want to be outside messing with that stuff. Now, the positive side, I will say, in the weather side of things, is the highs, like today was actually, I had a high of 59, but it's been dropping consistently. And it's going to be low 40s till Friday. It'll be 36 degrees as a high, and then back into the low 40s again. So we'll see how it goes. If I can do it quick, swap that part off, then I'll be happy. But I'll see how the weather's doing before I commit to it. I don't like working in the cold at all. Steve says your older brother was being an older brother. Yeah. I didn't have much say in the matter when when he's 6 years older than me and twice my size. I just do whatever he tells me. Jerry says winter of '78, big time snow back then in those parts. Yes. Yeah, and I've shown. I had posted pictures up before that. I think I may have made. Yeah, this would have been around that time with my dad's tank up there. Pushing snow, pushing cars over. This would have been right around that time, 70, 77, 78. Just mountains of snow, and this was our backyard. Believe it or not, that is looking up into the junkyard. The tree on the right-hand side is an apple tree. The tree to the left is also an apple tree, and that just was the incredible amount of snow we used to get back in the 70s. And of course today, the area, they'll get snow, but it's not anywhere near that amount. And it's just not close. Rick and a wheel hub in this cold weather. I hope you have the hub grappler tool. Will definitely make that job easier. Yeah, this one won't be too bad because it's actually it's a bolt-on hub. So it's going to have 4 bolts in it, but you have to get the brakes off. So you got to pull the caliper bracket, pull the rotor, and of course pull the hub off. The problem with these things is apparently they have a speed sensor that goes bad. And the crazy part is you can buy a new speed sensor for, I don't know, $20 or something. It's not even that expensive to buy just a sensor. But to change that sensor, I watched a video where a guy did it on the car. And he had to have this special tool, had to have this, all kinds of special stuff just to pull that sensor out and then put the new one in and reconnect it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, why not change the whole assembly? So I saw another video where a guy took the whole assembly off, then changed the speed sensor, and then put that same assembly back on. And you can buy the whole assembly with the speed sensor already on it for $45. I'm like, why bother putting that old thing back on and doing all that extra work of taking it apart and all these different things? Just swap the whole thing. Be done with it. And I was just, if you were to look up 2019, I think Kia Soul, and see them doing this work, like, there's no way. That doesn't make any sense at all. That you're going to spend hours and maybe mess up the speed sensor in the process and put an old hub back on. No, just swap the whole thing, plug it back in, and be done with it. That shouldn't be an hour job, in my opinion. It shouldn't be an hour job to do that whole thing. And these guys were spending half a day trying to swap out the sensors. Like, no, not doing it. Dutchman, we don't have junkyards like that anymore. Yeah, there's really not. I know there's a junkyard up in North Georgia. I don't know what it is, Junk USA or something, that has like supposedly thousands of cars, and occasionally they sell something, but it's more like a tourist destination at this point. People go up there just to walk through it and pay money to walk through the place, and it's like, well, okay, that's probably worth it too. Dutchman says it's all crunch and bunch. Yeah, it is. Yeah, any place now will just bring something in and just strip it, set the body aside in pieces, whatever, save the doors, save the engine, and the rest of it just gets crushed. Rick says on a Jeep, when you buy the wheel hub, it comes with the new speed sensor. Yeah, that's the way uh, that's the way this assembly comes. You can buy it separate or buy the whole assembly. So I'm getting just a whole assembly. Just makes more sense. Steve, yep, winter 76, 77, 78. We had snow and cold, so it wouldn't go away. I had to get a co-pilot out of car to flag you. It was clear to go. Lived on Main Street. Yeah. Well, yeah, and as I said before, our little town, they called up my dad to bring out the tank because they couldn't break the roads open. We had drifts that were 8, 12 feet tall, and they had nothing that would bust open the roads. So they called up my dad, said, "Hey, can you bring your tank out with the plow and knock open the roads?" And so we did. I remember riding in the thing, and all bundled up. This is, I think he had put some plywood on the sides to try to enclose it a little more. But yeah, they couldn't even bust through the snow that was up there at the time. Travis, so with Fangold, are you planning on getting it built before getting back on Slither? Uh, Maybe. Sort of. It depends how things go. Like, what I want to do is obviously get this car apart, get the pieces off that I want to keep, and then I can roll all the sheet metal that I have, because I have the full floor pan, the sides, the roof, the deck lid. I have all that stuff. Firewall. I have the front frame rails. Um, I mean, I can probably basically pre-assemble the thing in about a day, really, because I got my jig, so I can just set everything up on it, make sure everything's going to work and line up, and then it's a matter of prepping everything. So, punching holes, drilling holes, welding stuff shut, welding things back together, all that sort of thing. Um, it in my mind, I don't see it taking a few weeks to basically have the body together. There's no reason why it should take that long. And from there, I may, depending on how the weather is at that point, because we're like in the middle or first week of, first week of January. So if I could have it together as a body by mid-February or even towards the end of February, which is fine, that means, in the way I look at it, the temperature should start coming back up. And that means I can start going back to doing the primer and getting the body work done on, or getting the paint work done on Slither. If you remember, I did something similar with the Bronco. I had worked on that Bronco in, I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I did that whole Bronco all the way to paint while the weather was good. It was in the spring, I believe. And so then I got back onto Slither to knock it out. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. If I can get everything processing the way I feel like it shouldn't take as long. Now, the problem I had with doing that with Slither was Charles wanted me to save so much of his original car. So I had to save the shock towers. I saved part of the firewall. I saved the header panels that go above the back and underneath the roof. I saved those pieces. I saved the rocker panels. And to do that, to make all that happen, that was a lot of disassembly. A whole lot of disassembly that I had to go through in order to save the bulk of those pieces. Now, with this project, this car, I'm not saving much of anything off of this, besides the rocker panels for the fastback project. So if you can picture it, if I roll the boat trailer in here with the floor pan on it, I'm not doing like on Slither. I put in mini tubs. I did all those extra things that Charles wanted, and in this case, we're not doing that. We're basically just going to hand assemble parts to create the body. So I don't see it taking all that long to make it happen. But thank you, Travis. Good question. Dave Tyson, you could almost do that at your place. What were we talking about? I don't know what you're referring to, Dave. Sorry about that. Tim Miller, the hub has pins in the side, and speed sensor reads rust, and not pins replaced at all. Okay. Yeah, the hub has pins inside. Yeah. And it's seeing the rust instead of the pins. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's worth it just to replace the whole assembly and be done with it. A whole new system. Don't be trying to piece things back together when it's a readily available part. Steve's Money Pit put the Camaro together and gone first. Well, we'll see. I'm not saying that I won't do something with the Camaro, but yeah, I do need to get the Camaro together. I know, but this is a customer job. The Fangled, fastback is a customer job. The Camaro is mine, and it doesn't care if it gets worked on. Richard Vogel, your dad's tank looks like something from a Mad Max movie. Yeah, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. I like this shot here. I mean, that's the house I grew up in, and so you can see some sort of early 50s car he's picking up with that thing. Yeah, definitely. It's a M4 high-speed tractor, is what that's called. And they were used in World War II as tank retrievers. And we used to crush all kinds of stuff with that. I have videos. I have a video somewhere that I made the video. I think it was maybe right after I got out of the Army. And it's probably one of the more... I'll just say it's kind of a rare video because it has my brother and my uncle in it. My uncle lived in Kentucky, and so he wasn't up at our place a lot, but when he was there, we would always fire up the tank and go do things. So I have this video, and I have it on a video cassette. That's some high wind. And I've already put it on DVD somewhere, but I can't find that DVD at the moment. But I want to transfer that onto my computer and put it on YouTube and show this tank in operation, doing some crazy stuff with it. But I have to find that. Also, Dave Tyson, were you talking about having people come tour my place, pay money to come? Is that what you're referring to? I see your other comment down lower. So, yeah, but Richard, I'm going to try to get that video put together and get it back up, get it on YouTube. Troy, I bought a convertible floor pan for my fastback. I was thinking of separating the inner rocker. I really only need the inner curved part. The only difference I could see between the fastback. So you bought a convertible floor pan. You're thinking about taking the inner rocker out. Well, then if you do that, you're going to have to replace that space. Like the floor pan itself, you say you only really need the curved part? I'm confused about what you're talking about there. The convertible, because a convertible floor pan will work in any a coupe or or fastback. I really only need the inner curved part. The only difference I can see between a fastback. So I'm not sure exactly. Wait a minute. Now we're really getting confused. And convertible is the seatbelt holes. I don't even know if there's a difference. Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. The only difference, here we go. The only difference I can see between the fastback and convertible is the seatbelt hole. Does anyone know if there is a difference? Okay. I don't know if there's a difference or not, but the fastback or the convertible pan also has that center brace that goes underneath the seats. So there's more strength overall through that midsection as well. But I don't know if there's a difference with the seatbelt hole. When I did the convertible Brooklyn Pony car, I relocated that seatbelt hole because the 3-point harness that I put in needed to be moved. I think it was aft, and I ended up cutting it out and moving it to the rear and re-welding it back in. So if you're going to do that, but if you cut out that inner rocker, you're going to need to fill that floor pan space somehow. That gap, that 3.5 inches or whatever, you're going to have to make something to go in there as well. I would look at just keeping it the way it is. Travis saved the rear trunk lid brace. I bought a dynacorn one, and it was all sorts of misshaped. Trunk lid brace. Okay. You talking about the latch piece? Is that what you're referring to? Because I do have the one, and if it'll work, I'll probably use one from this car. I've already cut it out. Dave Tyson called, that place, the tourist trap up there. Yeah, the Junkyard or Old Car City or whatever it is. Troy Johnson, I'm talking about the flat part that mates to the outer rocker. Okay. So I guess I'm a little... right now, if you have a coupe, you have an inner rocker panel, which is the curved part that matches the door. You have the inner, you have the outer, and then you have the inner, which is the flat plate that goes between the floor pan and the outer rocker. On the convertibles, that becomes the center rocker, and then you have an inner rocker panel. So you have an inner that goes to the floor pan, you have a centerpiece, and then you have the outer. That's how I view them anyway. So you're talking about the center plate, the flat plate in the middle. Tim Miller, got my 70 Mach 1 front springs and spindles. Stopped to move snow in Kansas City area. Okay. Dave Tyson says yes on the tourist trap of Old Car City. Travis says, where the latches? Yes. Yeah. That is another piece, and I'm going to have to see, because I also ran into that a little bit with the Slither project. I think I salvaged. I don't know if I used the aftermarket. I don't think I used the aftermarket. I think I salvaged the piece, but this is the piece out of this car, and I made sure to keep it intact. And that's the original color, which was that whatever that green was. It was on the Bullet car. That's the same color that was on this. So yes, good plan. Keep that. A lot of this stuff is meh, the little things like that. I think the one, if I remember now, the one I tried to use, it was actually like distorted this like sideways. Like one side was taller than the other or something. The holes, I made a video on that. I think I talked about it. And I had one, or I salvaged one or something. Or got another one. I don't remember exactly right now. But the first one I had was not any good. Troy, I don't want to take the current one off. If I don't have to. It's in good condition. And he says, I just want to use the outer part of the convertible. I want to use the outer part of the convertible inner rocker. I'm just not sure if it will mate up to the one on my fastback. Okay. The rocker panels, everything's the same. Like the outer rocker panel is the same. The inner plate, the straight piece in the middle, it's the same. The only thing different on the convertible is that inner channel piece. In fact, Robert, the Infernal Craftsman, he has a coupe, and he added that piece to his coupe to add more strength. So my understanding, everything I've seen, is the center plate is the same, the outer rocker panels, same. The inner is the only thing that's been added, and add some more strength to that structure. So that's what I'm saying. Travis, yes, I had to send the one I bought back. Going to use the one off my 70 coupe and use the bottom legs off the new one. Yeah. Yeah, send it back. Yep. Troy, if the flat part is the same, then I shouldn't have a problem. Thanks for the help. Yeah. Yeah, the center plate, the center flat piece, my understanding is it's completely the same. When they built these cars, they were all basically the same platform. That's why I can use that jig that I have and put a 67, 68, 69, 70 and have them all fit that jig without an issue. And even the other cars will fit, but they used as many parts as they could in a crossover. That's why the doors fit, the fenders fit, everything can be bolted on. The only difference is like on the coupes, you got that little cutout on the B pillar, but on the on the fastbacks, there's no slot cut there. So that's one little difference. But my understanding is everything else, the rocker panels, wheelhouses, other than the convertibles having the smashed top, wheelhouses are the same. All that stuff is the same per body design. So 65 and 6 would be the same. 67 and 68 are the same. 69 and 70 are the same. And then, of course, the rocker panels. You can look up online. If you did a search just for rocker panel, and it would probably tell you 67 to 70 is the same. So go by that too. Strider Ward, when do you plan on painting Slither? I'm going to have to wait till the weather gets better. Yeah. I've got to have 70 degrees all day long. Nice weather. Can't paint in the cold. I can't get enough heat in here. I can't have enough airflow. Those are the two things, and you fight both of those, or they fight each other at the same time. So I can make it about 68, 69 degrees in here, which would probably be just enough to paint. However, you have to have movement of air. You have to be able to vent the system, pull everything out. And as soon as you open up any kind of door, turn the fans on, and it's gone. So I can't do that. Can't do it. I'm going to have to wait till might be the end of February, early March, when it starts getting consistently good temperatures, that's when I'll spray it. Rick, even though it's cold, I'm going to get an ice cream cone. Okay. I can't blame you there. Nothing wrong with ice cream. Norris, Jeff, hey there, 5 inches of snow here today. Yeah, no thanks. Whoops, and good. Thank you, Strider, for the question, and also Jeff for showing up. Richard, is the engine compartment fangled square? It sounded like it wasn't straightened properly on a frame machine. No, it's probably not square. But I ain't using it. It's not going to be, none of that's being used. None of it. The shock towers, frame rails, all that stuff is going to be bypassed. I have brand new dynacorn frame rails with one-piece aprons already welded on, and that's going to eliminate a whole bunch of stuff. So just setting it on my jig, I'll set those forward frame rails in place. I'll be able to set the core support in place, check measurements, all that sort of thing. But yeah, nothing but the rocker panels from this car are going to go onto the fastback. That's it. That's the only part that I'm really saving. Denny Alvey, the floor pan flange on a convertible is turned down, and the width is the thickness of the inner rocker flange. Yeah, that's a good point. But even if you one way or the other, you have to change something. Like if you were to eliminate that piece or insert that piece, you have to do something to address that issue itself. So thank you for that. Dutchman says, nice. And how big is your shop? Well, the main shop here is 24 wide, 36 deep. So 24 by 36, just under 900 square feet. But I have the paint booth area, which is 14 by 24. So the footprint for this shop is 24 by 50. That's the actual footprint. But this working space here is 24 by 36. And the reason for that is that's all they would allow me to build back in the 90s. You couldn't build over 900 square feet. Now you can build a place as big as your house and they wouldn't care. But I can't do that. Can't go backwards. I would, if I had the finances, I would probably almost take this place down and double the size of it. But not going to happen. Strider, I got an R code I've been wrenching on. It turned out to have a 428 Super Cobra Jet engine from a 70. By a miracle, the motor is in good shape. Tore it down the other day. Well, that's awesome. Whoops, wait a minute. Give you a bell for that. That's pretty cool. And the car itself needs a lot of love. Originally candy apple with black interior. That's a good combination. I like that. I do like that. I don't like people when when the cars get repainted red. We call it resale red. Like this car. This was hunter green or whatever the Bullet car was, but somebody painted it resale red. I'm not a fan of that. Oh, I have something else I want to show y'all. A couple of things. When I was doing the plasma cutting earlier on this car, I was actually struggling with it because I've got a pair of really dark sunglasses. I mean, they're welding glasses, maybe like torch use, like whatever. But my eyes are so sensitive. Like I ended up taking a pair of these and those other ones and putting them over top of each other so that I could try to see what I was doing without blinding myself. So I finally bit the bullet, and I was looking on Amazon, and I bought a pair of these. I think Robert has a pair of these. This particular item is from Yes Welder, and it comes with this face shield thing, which I'm probably not going to use that because when I do plasma cutting, I wear a respirator, and this would interfere. But you can take this face shield thing off, and this has actually all the little tuners on the side, like your welding helmet. So it's got a shade level, sensitivity, a delay, on off, or on off power switch over here, and whether you can choose between welding or cutting or grinding. And I haven't used these yet to do plasma cutting, but they do work. I mean, I've turned them to the light and they've gotten dark. The only problem that I have with this at all, and this is probably because I have a fairly large nose, there's this little front section right here. It makes a little bit of contact on the bridge of my nose. Now, once I get the air respirator on, it may not make any contact, but I'm looking forward to trying these out and seeing if they do well. I know Robert has used them, so I plan on making that happen as well in the next video using those things. The other thing that I wanted to show you, I don't like to go necessarily to Walmart. Who does? But I did go to Walmart the other day. I was looking for RV antifreeze. And anytime I'm there, though, I go by the toy section. You know, you got to look at the cars and stuff. You have to see what's there. And I know some people have pretty extensive Hot Wheels collection stuff. I was shocked. They had one of these. It is a 69 Boss 302. And it's the color that I'm probably going to be using on Jade. I mean, on my Mach 1. I think that's the color that I'm going to be using on that car. And I was like, you're kidding me. They actually have one of these? So I bought it. It was only like $4 or something, right? Matchbox Collector Series. And it's basically a Boss 302 car. The only gripe I have two gripes. One, I didn't notice it till I got it home. It doesn't have the vent in the quarter panel. It's got smooth 70s style quarter panels on it. And the chin spoiler is chrome instead of black. Now, obviously that can be fixed. But it doesn't have the vents. So I'm probably not going to open this one until I find another one. I want to get another one just like this. And then I'll open it up. And then I may play around with some things on it just to make it match, if I can. Try to make it match closer to the car that I plan to build. But I was in shock when I rarely see anything for a 69 Mustang at any of the toy sections. So just pointing that out. I even told Robert, I said, if you go by Walmart, look for one of those, see if they got it. I think they have them in different colors now too. I think there's a few different colors on this. But I was just so happy to find it, happy to have it, disappointed that it doesn't have the vent on the side. Oh wait, Rick says the 69 Boss didn't have the scoop on fenders. Okay, now I know I've learned something then. Because I thought they did. Maybe I was thinking more of the 70 then. Okay, so Denny always says 69 Boss quarters did not have the scoop in the quarter. So there we go. Now I know better. So I guess I can't complain. They did an accurate portrayal then. So I take it all back. But I would like to find a 69 Mach 1 in this color with a scoop on the side so that one day when I have my car done, it can be put on display with the car. Tim Miller says, what color is it? That color is the, I think it's the lime gold. Color. I don't know if I have a picture of... I thought I had a picture of that color of that car. Maybe I don't have it. Yeah, there I do. New lime. Well, no, not new lime. Take that back. Lime gold. I think it's the color. And this is pretty close too on that Bronco. Pretty close to that color. Because my car was actually new lime, and once I found out that new lime was just one of the ugliest colors ever, that I'm not going to use it. So I think it's lime gold is the color. Steve, tell your wife you need a bigger allowance to increase your shop to keep out of the house. Well, yeah. Yeah, that should go over well. Nora says I ordered them yesterday. Jeff, yes. Yep. And talk about the goggles. Robert says, yep, got a pair of those handy for a number of uses. I could see doing grinding and having, actually having this face shield on. David says those look almost look like dive goggles. Yes, they do. They look very similar to that. So we've taken care of the Boss 302 not having the scoops, which I guess I didn't realize that or didn't pay attention to that. I think I don't know why I was thinking 302, Boss 302 cars are actually 70, but I'm wrong. Black GTX Lime Gold, just like my dad's 72 Ford wagon. Yep. And Lime Gold got more in it. David, mine was a special order green called Anti-Establishment. I have never seen an uglier green. Well, okay, I'm with you. I am a fan of blue and blue green. I am a fan of those colors. So Travis just sent me an eBay link to a '69 Ford Mach 1 muscle machine, American Muscle. See, now don't do that. I might have to buy that thing. Yeah. Yep, I might have to buy that thing. Richard, you have a great shop set up there. I wish I had that much space for my Mustangs. Yeah. I really wish that I had the old body shop back. I mean, we were leasing that place, but it was just massive, And if I could pull it off, parts of me really want to make this happen, but it won't. The idea of doing a Mustang shop only, like get some people working for me and do restorations on Mustangs only. But it's such a big headache. It's such a big headache. If I had 10,000 square feet, and cars lined up, but there's a lot of stress involved with that. And currently, I'm not looking for that. I don't need a lot of stress. Tim Miller, Acapulco Blue is my Mach 1. Yeah, that was the color on my dad's car too, Acapulco Blue. So I do like Acapulco Blue. Obviously I like Gulfstream Aqua. Variations of blue and green seem to be more in my interest. Red is okay, just not one of my favorite flavors. I like black, blues, and the greens. But so Rick says he sent me an email of 69 Boss 302. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty accurate then. That's pretty accurate. I don't know why my mind was picturing it with the scoop, but now I know. So more knowledge on my side of things. It's always a good thing. But yeah, it would be cool to have, if I could get, if I don't even know if it says what the color is on this box. The writing is so tiny. I can't, it just says Boss 302. Doesn't have a color on it, but that's pretty close to the lime gold that I want to use on my car. Steve Reed, there's so many of them that's red and black. Yeah. Now, I've only seen, like the 69s, I've only seen a couple that are that were black. And you don't see a lot of the 69 Mach 1s in black. At least I haven't. I've only seen like two or three. Acapulco blue, you'll see those more than anything. I think that was the most popular color on those cars. Now, of course, I've already talked about it. The new lime color that was on my car is just so hideous that I couldn't make myself spray that. I just couldn't. It's not going to happen. I will not put that back on the car. But I think that's the bulk of what I see. Those Acapulco blue on the 69s for sure. James says, hello all, very late. Been sick with a weird on and off again stomach bug for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, no fun there. No fun there. Glad you're here, James. Hope all is well. Otherwise. Steve says, most 69 you see around here are red. Tim Miller, have you sprayed Sickens base paint? Have gallon of it. What's setup base? Yeah, I have not sprayed Sickens. Not familiar with it. Pretty much all I've sprayed on any of the restoration cars is PPG. I also do more of a generic paint if I do a collision job. I just buy the generic stuff. Dave Tyson says yellow. Yeah, you don't see. I don't seem to see a lot of those that are in yellow, but I do. I like a yellow on the Mustangs if it is the bright yellow. You know, like the 70 had the grabber blue, and I think you had I guess it was grabber, maybe grabber yellow. I can't remember what all the names are. The grabber comes to mind. But I do like a bright, not the pale yellow, not the ugly yellow, but like a bright yellow with the black accents all over it. To me, it looks good on a Mustang. Michael, I have partial color blindness. Green is one of the colors I can't see. It just looks like shades of gray. Well, that's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that. James says, if you got to go green on your 69, I love grabber green. Yeah, that's one of the, that's a nice color, but I think my wife is already committed to the new lime. She liked that color that I showed her. M. Jack, 1254, welcome. What temperature do you require to shoot primer? Well, for me, I like to be as close to 70 degrees as I can get. You know, you can probably get away with just a little bit lower than that. In my case, I have to be careful. Like I could probably spray primer in here right now if I didn't vent out, if I didn't have the fans blowing, just to maintain that temperature. But yeah, about 70 is where I like to be comfortable. Any lower than that, just you're risking problems with it. Good question though. Steve says Mopar banana yellow. Yeah, that's a bright yellow, and I'm okay with that. You know, I think I've gotten rid of the picture. I had that one picture of the Mopar. It was a Challenger or something from the 70s where they painted it all the colors that were available. I thought it looked pretty cool just because it showed every variation that you could get. They used them for display cars. But yeah, there's all those crazy colors, Panther pink and purple haze or whatever, all the crazy Mopar colors were fun. James is saying sanding primer above, painted above 65 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I like to be close to 70 if I can, just to be comfortable with it. Okay. I think we're getting close to quitting time again. You know, I'm trying to make these videos as good as I can and hoping that everybody's enjoying them. Oh, wait a minute. David says, I think it would look great in Harley Davidson Sinister Blue. Yeah, you never know. Steve says it all had 27 colors available on it. Yeah, that Challenger. It was pretty sharp. Travis, I like electric yellow from Eastwood. Here you go. Tim Miller, get a big heater and blow in shop. Yeah, kind of hard to, for me, I can't really justify it. James, data sheet for paint and primers are valuable. Yes, I keep a little book of all my PPG stuff. And Robert, when it gets too warm, it's no fun painting while you are sweating. Yeah, that's never fun. That's never fun. All right, so again, I'm working on the next video for the Fangled project, and I'm hoping to get, I know in the next day or so, well, maybe tomorrow, I'll be able to have all of this cut off and out of the way, and then start working on the rocker panels. So I've got to get those out, and then once that's apart, out the door it goes, and then we'll see what comes, what happens next. You know, if I can get the floor pan in here with the boat trailer jig and all that, and get everything set up, all the better. So that'll be it for tonight. I do plan to be back here next Monday at 7 o'clock as usual, unless something comes up. And if it does, I will not post any kind of advanced link, on YouTube. I always try to put out, usually by 5 o'clock, I try to put a notice that the video will be up and live. But I also try to put a notice that if I'm not going to be here, I try to let you know as well. So it's been fun. Had a lot of good questions, and I hope you enjoyed your time tonight. But that'll be it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.